My name is Elizabeth Kigozi. I'm a qualified social worker. I have been raising a child with sickle cell for 29 years.
So how did you find out you were a sickle cell trait?
I found out that I was a sickle cell carrier when I became pregnant with my first child. I had undergone the routine tests any pregnant woman is supposed to go through. I mean, for Afro-Caribbean people, usually doctors will look out for um, inherited conditions such as sickle cell. So I underwent that. I gave them some blood. Obviously, there's so many other things they look for or they look out for, but they picked up that I was a sickle cell carrier. So I was advised that my partner went in for a test, and on giving in his blood samples, he was also identified as somebody who was a sickle cell carrier. So we were actually warned that the child I was carrying could either be a carrier or trait, or he could or she could inherit the sickle cell gene from both of us, making her a sickle cell sufferer.
My name is Abigail Wamala, and I am a music and performing arts administrator, and I am a sickle cell sufferer.
What's it like growing up with sickle cell?
Growing up with sickle cell is quite challenging, frustrating. It's a situation whereby when you're young, it's kind of difficult to wrap your head around the fact that your body doesn't do what everyone else's does. You know, and the limitations that come with it when you have a parent that's like, you can't do this, sit down, and you just literally want to be a kid and you just want to run around and do all the activities that everyone is doing, go swimming, ride a bike, but then you have to be the one out of everyone else that is just singled out and has to be so conscious of what you do and how much you do and whether it's going to cause you to be unwell. And I guess there's a feeling of a bit of kind of like segregation and isolation where, you know, no one relates unless there's people around you or children around you or kind of peers within that age group that you are at the time growing up that understand. But then it's interesting because when I got to secondary school, met this girl and she had sickle cell as well, and I was like, wow, like I'm not alone. And we clicked on our taster day, then we found out we we're going to be in the same form, and I was like, okay, cool, like there's someone that's got sickle cell too. So lo and behold, like it was just a completely different scenario whereby I was in and out of hospital, but for her that wasn't the case.
What was the most scariest experience that you had to face when raising a child with sickle cell?
I mean, raising a child with sickle cell can be very challenging. But the most traumatic experience I went through was a time when Abigail was much younger. She was admitted into hospital, and what was so strange and different about that respective admission or crisis was that the doctors tried almost everything in the book to try and manage her pain, and they just failed. She constantly crying, not sleeping. It was a very traumatic and very stressful period for me too. 3 days into the admission, the doctors kind of figured out what was required, and they said that she needed to go to an intensive care unit to try and remove most of her blood and replace it with some new blood, because her blood was sickling, and because most of her veins were clogged up, the medication that was being given to her to try and manage the pain was not getting to the areas where the crisis had built up. So we were rushed. We found, I mean, there was a bed that was, a place or bed in intensive care unit that was found in South London, St. Thomas's Hospital. And I had to follow the ambulance through traffic, driving erratically to get there, because the situation had become quite serious, and they were thinking that if they don't get her there in time, anything could happen.